Hey y'all, it's Indigo here, coming at you with round 3 of my Grand Arena Championships. This is Exhibition Week 3. This is the finals. We're going to start it off a little bit differently. Here's a collage of my defenses. I've had a lot of people asking about that. Typically, I don't go through and show my defenses just in case my opponent, happens to look up my name and then he can see everything I use in case I use it again in the next round. It just depends. But I had to kind of strategically place and then craft some little tricky teams to deal with these opponents that like to go light on defense and high on the efficiency. So what I did was in my North 1 zone, I put a Karth team out there. I've got Tuscan Shaman as the 5th. Had him since back in the day from the old tank raid days. So gear 11, he's nothing special, but he does heal and put down dots. So that's kind of nice. And then with him in that zone, I got a Bastilla Jedi team. I've got Plo Koon in there, just leftover Jedi, Juhani. And then for attackers, I've got Ezra and Qui-Gon, all G12. So they're not too bad, and they will gain, extra protection back if the opponent keeps taking multiple battles. They're a really good team to throw in back because your opponent might burn off, the good teams, and it takes a decent team to be able to get through that. So it's a decent squad to have, but in this case, I wanted him to think I'm going light on defense too, and, burn all his good teams up front, and then not have the teams that he needs when he gets to the back. In the front of the South, I put some Night Sisters down, and then I got my Grievous team. It's still a work in progress. I got T3 with the Zeta in there. Hopefully you can get some extra damage in on them. These teams are all designed to take off some banners. That's why I got the MT lead on the Night Sisters, because I figured maybe Plague will take off a little bit of healing or something. It's not about really getting a defensive hold anymore, not with my opponents. It's about how many banners can I milk in each zone. So that's what I got out front waiting for him. And then when he gets to the back, up top, you can see I got my Geos, and I threw Newt in there. I don't know how much of a difference he makes, but I'm sure he'll do better than Poggle. And Newt with that extortion likes to take off some health. Who knows? It just throws a wild card. And if you can throw any kind of wild cards at your opponent and make them think, okay, I can't use my standard counter, whatever it was going to be, now they got to go use something different or reevaluate. That's always a good thing. You want to keep them guessing and not give them something that they've already got dialed in and they've used plenty of times. Right next to the Geos, I got a Jedi Knight Revan team. I put down Jedi Knight Revan just because I wanted to keep my Darth Revan for offense. I've done that a couple times now. It's really fun keeping Darth Revan for offense rather than putting him right out front and hoping your opponent can't get through him. But I figured maybe Jedi Knight Revan in the back would, again, give my opponent some fits. Maybe he'll burn all the good teams up front and not have an answer for him in back. It all depends on how light your opponent goes on defense and what they decide to save. Now down south, I've got a Scoundrel team. It's got Dengar lead, Vandor Chewie L3, Nest, Stormtrooper Han. It's all designed to just eat up the clock. Maybe they'll time out. Maybe it'll get up, maybe Nest will power up enough to be able to start taking people out. It's kind of designed to just be annoying and take out a good team. Your opponent has to throw something decent at it. They can't just throw whatever and hope to get it down. So that's why I use that. And in the back, I also put some Jango-led bounty hunters. I've been going with Jango lead a lot more just for the extra speed on them all. And again, it's not about a hold. I don't have to worry about, well, I'm going to get extra defense and tenacity from my bounty hunters. Everyone knows how to take out a Bosk-led bounty hunter team. They can take out a Jango team too if they're fast enough, I like to use my imp troopers, but I guarantee you, my Django bounty hunter team outspeeds a lot of imp troopers that I come across. They don't have a chance. So I've got like 302 speed on my Bosk. I think something like 269 on my Django. So when you throw the plus 30 speed in there, I'm out front of everybody. And they hit decently hard at gear 13, so that's nice. Gear 13 throws off your opponent a little bit. And if they burn their good counters like JTR or First Order or put some on defense, they may not have a good answer for them when they get to the back. If I threw them right out front, they would probably get, CLS or something like that. But I'm hoping by throwing all this stuff in the back, it's going to cause my opponent to make some tough choices. So, started this video off a little bit different. Showing you this is because when it was time, like right at 4 o'clock, when it was time to start attacking in Grand Arena, I just ripped through it, man. I apologize I didn't get an overhead shot of the board. You'll see me just dive right into it, because my opponent went really light on defense this round. So I knew exactly what counters I wanted to use for what. And I figured, there's no sense messing around, waiting, and who attacks and who gets this, and playing, chess with my opponent. I'd rather just get in there, use the counters I know I'm going to use, set the bar nice and high, and put the pressure on my opponent then. Since he wants to play the efficiency game, we'll play the efficiency game. So let's dive into it, and you can see how my defenses did. Alright, first up, my opponent put out his bounty hunters with a Django lead. The thing about the Django lead, like I mentioned earlier, is, he gives that plus 30 speed bonus, which is great. But in this case, my Stark was still 1 speed faster than his Django-led bounty hunters. So that 1 speed difference causes this to happen. You see how I just kind of mow them down and don't think twice about it. So it's been about like 30 seconds and 60 banners. I love it when I can use my imps on something for a good 60 points. So there was that. Starting the battles off right. He's got his First Order up there up top. And I was torn what I was going to use for that. But in the end, I decided, okay, I'll go ahead and take my FO in, because I know they're decently modded, and do a mirror match. Now, his are faster. He went first. So you can see right here what happens when your opponent's team goes first. I figure it's a, good example. It takes a minute for you to kind of catch back up and start taking the upper hand and controlling the battle. Much longer than if you went first and controlled it right from the get-go. But it's definitely doable. And this is a good example of it. You just got to kind of tank out the hits, and that's why you want a First Order Stormtrooper. You don't want to deal with like Captain Phasma or the dumb First Order pilot. They're all too squishy. You want these 5 right here. These are the only First Order you should be using in your teams. Don't gamble on pilot. Don't gamble on Phasma. Like, if you plan on using First Order and making them decent, get Stormtrooper. Put the Zeta on there. Get them to gear 12. Mod them decently. And they're not going to let you down. Even when you don't go first, you can see that I'm whittling him down. I've already got the numbers advantage. Working on his Executioner is all about trying to just get in where you can, get the damage. I'm trying to keep his crew stunned so I don't have to worry about his 2-turn stun, while I take out Executioner for the big damage, and then I can start working on everybody else. Meanwhile, you also need to think about health and protection management and trying to heal everybody up, because this is an efficiency game. My opponent saved a ton for offense, and I'm going to need every single win as close to 60 banners as I can get, because that's what it's going to come down to. I just know it. So you really got to try and squeeze out every extra banner that's possible. So here I'm trying to keep crew alive. That's the only downside of him not going first is he's going to get dogpiled, and like I said, it takes a while to gain control back of the battle. But here we go. I finally got him where I got both of the enemies stunned, took out crew. Now it's just Xylo left, and I'm seeing what can I do to kind of get some banners back on everybody. That's why I didn't go with the special there from Executioner and use the stun there. I'm trying to drag this out just a couple more turns, make sure everybody's at full health and everyone's at as much protection as I can give. So 58 banners for that match. I was able to get through and save my JTR team. Let's see what he's got in the back. He's got a Karth team and then a Rogue One team. And he's got no Zetas on the Karth team, which is great because I normally like to use First Order there. Down south, he's got Night Sisters, and then he's got some Scoundrels with Nest. And I already know exactly what counters I want to use for those teams, so let's dive right in. Alright, he's got his Night Sisters, and some of them are Gear 13. I think it was Daka and Asajj. And I hate going against Night Sisters anyway. And, Trey has kind of been a big letdown on Night Sisters recently. One team I found that does pretty good work is this Padme Galactic Republic team. As long as you can keep that protection up, she does a good job of making sure that nobody dies off to the plague, and they can tank out an awful lot of hits. So it seems like they're, built for Night Sisters, especially when your opponent starts getting Gear 13 on the Night Sisters. So that's all I'm trying to do is just, all you do is really you just take your time and you heal up, get your 2 kills, waste the zombie revives like I did there. Now I can start killing the team off, but it's all about making sure you can get that protection up, even if it's using a basic on Padme or something, and keeping it up so that your team can kind of tank it out and not be, taken down by all the debuffs, the stuns, the plague, everything else. So that's what I'm trying to do, keep a little bit of protection up whenever I get the chance. But you can see I got Daka out of there. Still having to worry about zombie taunt, but right there I'm working on Asajj. Heal up, throw some protection up on there with Padme. Now that means I don't have to worry about that plague right there. I got the big move from GK, took out Talzin. And there went Asajj. Now it's just down to Spirit and Zombie. I'm trying to think, what can I do to heal? Is there anything I can do to get protection? You always got to kind of be thinking about that. You don't just want to win and be like, okay, it was a 50 banner win, but I won. Right there, 55 banners. It's kind of expected when you go against Night Sisters, but I like to do better than that if I can. Here's what I've been using lately for my problems with Nest. Anytime they throw Nest in a team, a lot of people want to burn Treya. Well, you only got one Treya, and she seems pretty stretched thin these days with the amount of teams people want to use her on. So rather than waste my Treya team with Nihilus, I can go ahead and throw in CLS, and then I use Chopper instead of R2, so I can save R2 to go with JTR. And then I have Wampa in there as the 5th. And Wampa's great for taking out Nest because once he gets powered up a bit, he can just one-shot whenever it's time to get the big hit on Nest. He can knock it down all in one go and get you the win. It just takes a minute to line up sometimes. So all I have left is Kira and Nest, and I'm trying to save Kira so I can line up the moves. The great thing about Chopper is that he's got 2 other moves that are not attacks. He can put up a taunt and take off some buffs. So you want things like that. You want the non-combat moves where, okay, I can save that, and then I can go, and now Wampa gets to go and use his move. So that's what I try and do, line it up like that. And you can see I got Nest down to yellow. She's stunned. So it's all about lining up my moves to be able to take out Nest now. Even Wampa's hits now don't do anything, but that's okay. I just got to keep going and line it up so that when it is time, I can get that big hit on her. Powering up Wampa. And right there I went with a non-combat on Chopper just to throw up his taunt. Same with Han there. With Chewie, you just do a basic because you don't want to take any turn meter off. Now here I get a chance for a big hit, so I just use CLS's middle, and that was big enough to get the job done. I didn't have to rely on Wampa. So that was great. I took out my opponent's both front zones, and in back I was expecting that he'd have Grievous waiting for me, and he really went light and just put an EP team down there with his Geos. So now that I see what the back looks like, I know exactly what I'm going to use on all these squads and be able to take them out for the best banners that I can get. So let's go to work and start on these teams, and I'll show you, how that went down. Here's his Geos. You can use JTR if you have Holdo for the days, things like that. But if you do have Traya to spare, go ahead and 3-man it. Just put in Traya, Scion, and then Sith Trooper. And you may not even need Sith Trooper. He really doesn't get a lot of action. But it's just nice that he's there. I've got Scion really taking the punishment. Once he gets that pain down, they all have to kind of focus on him. And he's really good at tanking it out because their hits are really weak. And since they're all debuffed, they're going to be losing a bunch of health as they attack out of turn, and then they equalize. So they really kill each other. You can see I was able to take out Brood Alpha there with Treya's big hit. Now it's just a matter of mopping them up. And I'm in no danger of dying or anything like that. And the reason you want to go 3-man here is because any more would just be unnecessary. So I was able to get 60 banners off that just by letting it pretty much play out on its own. I didn't have to do a lot. I've got the EP team next that I want to just knock out. Show you guys how much fun it is to go in with Darth Revan when you don't need him for anything that's difficult. I was going to use him on a Grievous squad, but my opponent decided to keep it. So you can go in 4-man here with Darth Revan, Malik, HK, and Bastilla, and they can just light it up. So I got 59 banners for that. Again, good enough for me. Try and keep it close to 60, but I'm not perfect. I'm not going to go for 62s or anything like that. I think 59 was good enough for me there. And let's go back up top, and I'm going to take out his last couple teams. He's got that Karth team there that I showed you, and then he's got a Rogue One team, and there's no Zetas like on Mission and Zalbar, so it makes it a really easy team to take out. First Order is my preferred counter, but since I had to use them up, I got an EP team, and I threw my leftovers. Like I got Nihilus in there, I got Thrawn in there, because I'm not using those for anything else. And I don't get any extra points for leaving them on the bench. So go ahead and use this. I did go 4-man. I figured the 4 of them would be fine. I didn't need like Pilot or Tarkin or Shore. So no need for that. These 4 got a ton of power in them, so they'll be able to knock through this team like nothing. Is my thoughts anyway. And Tarkin's able to help keep everybody topped off with protection. So I figured that'd be pretty good. This ain't ideal. This isn't maybe a counter you would normally use. Normally you wouldn't even have Thrawn. But like I said, since I have him, I'm going to use him. He's great at controlling Zalbar and then letting you be able to attack where you want. He's great at being able to keep everybody's protection topped off. So you can see I'm making pretty short work of this team here. Once that turn meter train keeps going, that's it. Got Annihilate up, so there's that. And then now it's just all about Johannian. That's it. Topped off Vader. Try and get everyone back so I can get, 60, 61 banners. But unfortunately, EP's a little bit low on health, on protection. There's nothing I can do about that. Can't top off everybody. I was trying to see if there's anything that will give some protection back to the team that's down there in the abilities, but nope, nothing I can do, so I'll take the 60, and, that's fine for me. Last battle is this Rogue One team that he's got, and went ahead and brought in my JTR. I've got R2, BB-8, and C-3PO, then I got my Holdo in here. All this is designed so that hopefully I can heal up and get max banners out of this team. I figured it would be safer to bring Holdo because she has the healing and the AoE days. It would be more helpful bringing her to get 60 from a full healed team than leaving her off and trying to get 61 or ending up with lower banners. So I got Jin out. Really the problem that you have to deal with is just Chirrut and Baze. He does have Scarab Rebel Pathfinder in there, which can be annoying, but I got enough debuffs and, I can do the wave from JTR to take off his buff. And as long as he's not buffed, he's not going to come back. And if he does, that's only going to drag it out so that I can heal even more. So it's not a bad spot to be in if all you got left is these guys. I'm just going to put some work in on Baze, try and get him out of the way because there's no sense attacking Chirrut until I get rid of Baze. Just keep him debuffed so he can't equalize. And here we go. Throw healing immunity, got Illuminated Destiny on there. And that does that for Baze. Now it's easy to take out Chirrut. Don't have to worry about having Baze's taunt take my attention off him. And I got Scarab Rebel Pathfinder there. I'm trying to see if I can stretch this out to use Holdo's heal or gain any protection back. Do whatever I can do. Use the smoke screen. Holdo's got one more turn till she can top somebody off. But there's nothing I can do to get there. So I had to take what I got. 59 banners for that. And that's it. So I like to think that I set the bar pretty high. Give my opponent something to work toward where he's got to plan carefully what battles he wants to use. So I got 19-10, and my opponent was attacking some of the same time that I was attacking, and going through, and I was doing the math and seeing what he come up with. So it was a pretty interesting battle. You can see here when all the dust settled, I came out on top, my 1910 to his 1897. He did one shot every single squad. He was messaging me back and forth, and it turned out that him saving Grievous was his downfall. Just because Grievous kills off his own team so much, it cost him in banners. So he got down to my last 3 squads in the back, and he had to go basically perfect, all 60s to win, and he couldn't do it, not with what he had. And he saved every meta team, basically. So that's, he was able to imp my Night Sisters, and he used his JTR. So if you take out those 2, then you got the 5 meta teams to get you through, then you just need 1 more, and that 1 more for him happened to be Grievous, which is bad for banner efficiency. So, lesson learned, he told me he'll put Grievous on defense next time and not make that same mistake. As far as me, I'm happy to win this match. I'm getting close to going to the Erodium, and we'll see what happens. I just really didn't want to get my ass kicked by a guy named I'm a Unicorn Snowflake. I mean, how would that look? I was like, man, if he beats me, I'm just not going to be able to live that down. But he was a really good opponent, and he was chatting with me, and we were telling each other kind of what we used and how it went. So I really like that when I can reach out and discuss how the teams work and what happened. This is how you learn, and if you can find out what your team is weak against, you might be able to strengthen that up by adding some more gear or adjusting your mods so that that doesn't happen again. So it's all good information. So I hope this video was helpful, and hopefully you guys get a little bit out of my defenses in the front, and it gives you some ideas for your own. And we'll see you guys, next week for the next go round. Shout out to my buddy Mikayas. He runs a modding service. He'll go through, make sure you got the right squad compositions and the right mods on the right characters. Give your account a real nice tune-up. I'll put the link to his Discord in my description. Go ahead and check him out. Tell him Indigo sent you. Thanks for watching my video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share your comments down below, and hopefully you'll check out my other videos on my channel. Peace.